Hello viewers, welcome to Ekam Academy. We are back with English series of current affairs videos every day at 8 am. So today we are going to discuss about a current affairs linked topic with SNT from the static part, that is antimicrobial resistance. So why are we discussing this particular topic? Because recently in the state of Kerala, there was an operation launched to tackle this antimicrobial resistance. So what is this antimicrobial resistance and what is that operation aiming at? And what are the recent challenges that the entire world is facing in the context of another pandemic that is looming in the future? And what are the main measures or the initiatives taken from government also in this regard? We'll understand in a quick and informative video. So first thing we need to understand, the point of discussion is around Operation AMRITH, right? So why we are discussing this is because Kerala have launched this year, but the main important essence is the antimicrobial resistance, which is very much important in your biotechnology as well as health and diseases point of view in SNT. Right? So now let us understand what is antimicrobial resistance or AMR. So first, simply you have to understand there is two types of immunity. Right? So immunity means the defensive mechanism against any microbial agent like bacteria, virus and fungi that enters and harms you, right? So this immunity can be of two types. So it can be innate, that means which is already there as part of your body mechanism, as well as acquired. Two types of immunities will be there. So innate means by birth these mechanisms are already operating in your body. So for example, let us take the case of skin, right? So if there is anything which is going to enter, so generally skin will release the toxins, that means in the form of sweat it gets out also, right? In the form of tears also, and you have some tears also, right? When you generally have something fallen into your eye, generally tears will come so that it is shedding out. At the same time, you also have some acids in the stomach which also will provide some defensive mechanism. So these are all considered to be innate types of immunity. Then we also have acquired type of immunity. Acquired means these are not there naturally in the human body, but we are taking through different means. So under this acquired immunity, we also have active immunity and we also have passive immunity. So this passive immunity is generally inherited from the mother through breast milk and all this nutrition which the child gets in her early age, right? Then another form is the vaccinations and everything which you generally take to prevent any disease, right? That is also a form of active immunity. But generally what happens is, any medication which you take, like for example, there is some fever that you have suffered in the recent time, then what happens is, once if any virus or any bacteria attacks you, then body will remember that in the form of memory cells present in your blood. So that blood cells will remember that which type of agent has entered into the body and what is that it has caused to the body, then how it has to react. So keeping this in the memory, next time if there is any similar situation, then body will readily react without waiting for the natural immunity to get boosted. So that is how this active immunity will be working out. And passive immunity, as I told you, this is also acquired from the mother through breast milk and all these things. But if you see the case of antibiotics, which is the main subject of discussion, that falls under passive immunity, right? So let us understand what is antimicrobial resistance now. So antimicrobial resistance. So what are antimicrobes first? So you know, generally disease causing pathogens like bacteria, virus, fungi, so they generally enter the human body and they trouble you, right? That is the reason. So to stop their influence on the human body or impact on the human body, generally doctors will be giving us antibiotics or antivirals and antifungals in the form of drugs, right? So but sometimes these bacteria, virus and fungi becomes more immune or become more resistant over those drugs. That means they become more powerful than antibiotics given by the doctors. So that is why this we call it as antimicrobial resistance. That means even they will have resistance in fighting against the diseases. So that is why this is becoming a glooming global threat. Why? Because WHO said in case in the next future, in the immediate future, if we cannot take preventive measures, this will definitely trigger next pandemic in the form of superbugs. That is the opinion of WHO. Superbugs means they're going to trouble you. If you're giving some medicine to treat and if they're not able to cure it, then definitely it is out of our hand. That is why the antimicrobial resistance or the concern is also across the world. Then let us understand what are the reasons for AMR, right? So what are the reasons is, first thing, overusage of any antibiotics or antimicrobial things, or even if you're prescribed for a course of 3 days, if you stop using after 1 day, or if you have seen any sign of symptom, the relieving and everything, then if you stop without the advice of the doctor, then that also may trigger antimicrobial resistance in your body. Over usage or limited usage also may trigger. Then lack of sanitation is also the main problem for many health diseases, right? So then we also have lack of hygiene. Personal hygiene is also one reason. Then in most of the times what happens is unknowingly also we are taking antibiotics into our body. Like for example, to like have proper hormonal growth and all, even animals like poultry and all these things are also administered with some antibiotics. So through them, again through food chain, it is entering into human body. That is also creating some antimicrobial resistance. So lack of awareness and over prescription. So generally if you see, the doctors also will be under pressure, right? Because once if a patient visits a doctor and he generally says like, I'll generally avoid antibiotics, I want to show that your body develops natural immunity, the person who is visiting the doctor, he says like, no, I want instant relief. So that asking for instant relief from the doctor is also triggering this antimicrobial resistance, because in some situations where it is not actually required also, you are being prescribed with antibiotics. And another reason for prevalence of this antimicrobial resistance is the presence of crony capitalism in India. Crony capitalism means, you know, the largest industry that is running India is pharma industry. So that pharma industry will definitely try to encourage its market. So through that way, they are trying to sell as many antibiotics and the drugs as much as possible. So that is also triggering this antimicrobial resistance. Now let us understand the issue of antibiotics. So what will be the problem if you use antibiotics more and very frequently? That means it may impact your human life, right? So human life will be at cost, and economic cost also will be there. The same time, global crisis also is looming out. Okay, so then according to one report, GRAM means Global Research on Antimicrobial Resistance, it was found almost 60% of the world population is already facing this issue of antimicrobial resistance. This is highlighting the significance of this particular issue. Then let us understand the challenges. So if we have antimicrobial resistance, why couldn't we solve this, right? Because there is doctor patient pressure also, pressure from the patient on the doctor, and over emphasis on antibiotics. So knowingly, unknowingly, so we generally become doctors in case if we have any mild infections, flus and all. So we suggest to the fellow beings also like this has to be used in case of a fever and all. So that is also, that means without having proper understanding of the physical condition inside the body, if you are resorting to these things, then that may also become a challenge. So this is becoming a issue to treat these super bugs. That means they are not getting easily handled. Then not only this, we also have an issue, because if these are not useful, then in life-threatening situations also, if these are not responding, then how to save the patient's life? That is also a question, right? Then let us understand what are the steps taken. So with respect to antimicrobial resistance, there are so many national efforts as well as international efforts also. So one such thing you have to keep in mind when you talk about international level is aware campaign of WHO. So it has prescribed that we need to be aware or cautious in using the antibiotics. At the same time, we also have national antimicrobial resistance strategy launched in 2012 to 17 period. Not only this, we also have Delhi Declaration, New Delhi Declaration, and we also have Chennai Declaration. So these declarations also are with respect to antimicrobial resistance. This is an interministerial conference which was launched actually to tackle the issue of antimicrobial resistance, and there is also a Chennai declaration by many companies across the country. Then we also have an important campaign which you need to remember, that is Red Line campaign. Red Line means there has to be some Lakshman Rekha in terms of usage of antibiotics and all these things. This is another thing which you have to keep in mind. And sometimes over usage and all these things have to be tackled with sensitization as well as educating the beneficiaries or the main persons who are using these drugs. That means we need to create some awareness also. That is also the most important thing which we need. So but before we wind up, we just have to look into the policy of Kerala also, right? So what is the main thing is no prescription, no antibiotics. That means without prescription, no medical shop has to give antibiotics to the patients. So they have followed this 2011 H1 rule, which is prohibiting all the sales of all classes of antibiotics. Then Kerala has the highest doctor to patient ratio. That means even in the villages also they can easily implement this because doctors availability is more because of high literacy in Kerala. Then over 50 to 70% of antibiotic prescriptions by doctors are also unnecessary and irrational. As I told you, to grab the market or to get the instant relief, doctors are under pressure to issue these antibiotics. And reducing the incidence of hospital acquired infections also, this will be helpful in quickly reducing the demand of antibiotics, as well as rationalizing the antibiotic usage in hospitals and training the professionals also is the way forward, as well as even in fish farms and agriculture. For example, colistin is one antibiotic which is administered in poultry, so to artificially induce the growth in these type of animals. So that is one. And we also need to have some multi-pronged approach where it should be from the patient, it should be from the doctor, it should also be from the industry and governments. So multi-pronged approach is the way very much needed. Then what is the way forward you can suggest? So first, most important thing is we need to create awareness and sensitization, and then we also have to improve more focus on, rather developing on or building on different things and all, we need to develop our own personal hygiene. So personal hygiene is always like your Sriram Raksha. So you need to develop your own personal hygiene, you need to maintain it so that you can not fall into the trap of any disease causing agents. Then most importantly, what is suggested is one health approach. That means one health approach you can easily understand, it is human, and here it is environment, and we have here animal health. So the area where these three are matching, okay, so that is what we call one health. That means any approach where the considerations of human, animal as well as environment are taken and then strategized accordingly will be a one health approach as suggested by WHO. That is the most important way forward you can suggest in this particular topic. Let us now understand the practice question. With reference to antimicrobial resistance, consider the following statements. AMR cannot spread from one person to another person. Lack of access to clean water, sanitation and hygiene, wash, for both humans and animals can be a driving factor for its occurrence. Due to their favorable genetic makeup, antimicrobial resistance is not fatal to South Asians. Which of these statements are correct? So try to choose the correct one and let me know in the comment section. Today we have discussed about an important topic from current affairs, Operation AMRITH, and we also have understood what is antimicrobial resistance as an important topic from SNT. So this is what you need to understand, how this is going to work, what are the causative factors, then what are the challenges that we face from antimicrobial resistance, and what are the government initiatives to tackle this issue, and what is the way forward. So this is how the approach should be in approaching any particular topic. So this is all for this video. Thank you. All the very best.